Hell, oh,
Oh,
everyone, and welcome to Movie Mandates, the show where my sister and I force each other to watch movies according to a monthly theme. I'm Andrew,
I'm Kelly.
and it's Indie-pendence month. So, do you see what we did there? So, being Indie-pendence month, I mandated Kelly watch Primer, a movie written, produced, directed, edited, and scored by some guy named Shane for about $7,000.
Some guy named Shay. It's very true, though.
Yeah. How'd he do?
How'd he do?
Well,
We'll
it's
find
only
out
fair
later.
that since I mandated today's movie, Kelly gets to challenge me in a segment we call Trivial Trivia.
Okay, so this one's going to be semi-simple. And the reason I'm keeping it simple is because I have
For
a feeling we have a
contrast.
lot to talk about regarding Primer. So let's just get this little trivial
I
trivia
bet
out.
somewhere on the internet there exists a primer.
Yes, I did zero research because I wanted this to be just us talking. And I want our listeners to know just how stupid I truly am, rather than fake it by looking up other people's dissertations on this movie. So
Okay.
I'm just going to go into it
I
cold.
imagine someone's probably written a research paper on
You
stuff.
know?
Yeah,
Oh,
so.
yeah. So let's talk about the manipulation of time. Not necessarily always time travel, but time is a concept that just kind of makes us feel better about ourselves, right? Right. So can you, brother?
Mm.
Well, it's a nice little box that we can be like, it's been a day, and I, see my other tomorrow, and it just, so movies. Can you name five? Because I figure that that's the fun little number. Not necessarily
Sure.
time travel movies, but
Okay.
time manipulation movies. And so it can be time travel, or it can be just, mucking with the construct of what we would consider a normal minute. And a franchise will only count as one.
Oh, okay. Boy, it would be really tough to think of ones that are time manipulation movies that aren't time travel.
I have one in my head I have two in my head by the same director for that we could maybe argue about, but I'd win because I'm a girl. And you're
Okay,
saying bad
I'm
guy.
gonna let me. It's
What is this?
hmm. I don't know if you'd categorize it. Run Lola Run.
Yes,
Was that
that's
one
a
you were
good
thinking of?
idea. No, but I like it.
But it's a great movie, and it's
It
not
plays with
exactly.
time.
It plays with time, but it's not exactly a time travel movie. It's more, what if Rashomon, but the three different perspectives were all from the same person somehow?
What if Rashomon? Yeah, I'll
Um,
take it though. I think it's a brilliant way to start the conversation.
okay.
It's a
And
good.
she has fabulous hair.
This is
Whatever
also true,
the
and she
actor's name is.
runs like
And she
frog.
does. Yep. She does do that well.
Yes.
Move over Tom Cruise. We got someone else who's good at pumping them arms. Um,
Ooh, that brings me to another one that I just thought. Look at you.
Actually, I had a second one and I immediately forgot it. Now I'm trying to remember the name of the film. It's a German film. Funny Games.
Funny Games.
There's
Funny Games rewinds time. You're right.
Yeah,
Because
which
they
is
kill the
not
bad
exactly
guy. And
time travel, but the victims get the upper hand on the bad guys and shoots one of them, and the other grabs the television remote and just rewinds the movie.
yeah. Oh my God. I love that movie.
I didn't see the remake. I saw
See, and
the
that's
original.
that's something that we should add to our queue is we need to see the originals or whatever, because that one I've only seen the remake and I'm
Oh,
like,
well,
holy
from what
shit.
same director, and from what I understand, it's like just it's this. He made the
It's
same movie just in English.
it's just in English.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I'm sure I'll like it, but like you need to see the original. Like you just need to.
I actually, this is not a what is the
This is off
smug?
topic.
No, I'm the I saw the
Oh, I know
Funny
you did.
Games back before there was even a remake.
I know that. I know that. And you talked to me about it. That's why I went to go see it in
Hipster.
the theater.
That's what I was looking for. No, it's just, but yeah, what I saw, I don't know how I became aware of the movie. I think I like rented it from Netflix back in the before times when Netflix was a
Sent you the DVD.
DVD rental service via the US mail.
Yeah.
So 20 some years ago. Okay, so we got two, Run Lola Run and Funny Games. There's kind of similar to that, but there's Click with Adam Sandler where he uses a remote control to. I haven't seen the movie, but I'm
I haven't
assuming
either,
that's
but he
how.
does. He fast forwards through the boring stuff,
Yeah.
supposedly. And yeah, that's a good thought.
And
I didn't
slow
even.
mos and fast forward and rewind and does stuff like that. Again, I haven't seen the movie. I'm kind of assuming that and making assumptions based on a very shaky memory of the trailer for the film.
No, but I have not seen the movie, but I have heard Pray Tell and interviews with him and whatnot, and that's you are correct, and that is at least maybe it's not what the movie is about, but it is actually that does happen in the movie. He does manipulate time, fast forwards through boring stuff, and this does happen. So,
all right,
3.
here's one. Planet of the Apes, because it's kind of a time relativity thing where Charlton Heston and whoever else with them, they fly away and they come back, but they think they've landed on a new planet. They haven't. They've just landed on our planet in the far-flung future because of time dilation
That's
and time
brilliant.
relativity
I like
stuff.
this. I like where you're going with all of these.
So that's 4. And let's see. Because I can think of a bunch of time travel movies.
You did mention
there,
an actor who was in one, but I don't remember the name of the movie. I remember the original name of the movie.
there's Cloud Atlas, which
I've not seen with
we
the Wachowskis.
Wachowski's movie from last month before last, whenever it was, July, June, last month, because we're recording this in March, so really difficult to keep this stuff straight. That's that movie takes place uses different times throughout history and kind of like the reincarnation of the same characters in different points in time. So without being time travel, it's another film that tells a story throughout a large span. Do you remember what the hell is it called? Eternal Darkness, a game for the GameCube? No. Okay. Well, then that analogy is not going to work at all. But Cloud Atlas, very interesting movie, interesting story. A lot of the actors will play the same characters.
Yeah, I heard Hugh Grant plays
or like the soul, at least the souls of the same people who end up in different people throughout a history. So there you go.
So I was the ones that I was thinking of, like Inception doesn't play with, but it does.
There's also the other Nolan flick that goes backwards.
All of the Memento and then Tenet, all of those. Everything this man directs.
I was thinking Tenet, and I went, well, Memento too.
So what is the one with when you said Tommy Cruise? I was like, that Live Die Repeat movie, but I don't. That's not what it's called.
That was a name change. What the World of Tomorrow?
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. Tomorrow something.
I think it's Edge of Tomorrow.
Okay, I'll believe you. But yeah, when you said Tommy Cruise, I was like, "Oh, he's in one."
Is that what it's called? Yes, Edge of Tomorrow.
You win. I was wrong. Okay.
Good Lord.
But
The
see, but
movie's
that's
almost 10
fun.
years old now.
It's so interesting, like, because it's not time travel, but like,
Mhm.
because like even there's so much to talk about.
Yeah. So,
Primer.
Primer, a movie about two dudes, four, but the other two have no bearing on the plot and drop out of the movie.
And then they come back at the end randomly and do voiceover because they're not.
Well, you know, I don't know how the movie was shot. I'm guessing a good chunk, if not all of it, was ADR'd. But I don't know if it's because they were very mumbly or they didn't have the right mics or they had no mics.
My guess
Like
is they
they
didn't
might
have
have
a boom operator.
they might have shot on. Well, to be clear, I didn't see a boom or a mic in any of the shots. So they may have been just recording on film and just not had any way to capture audio or
Yeah.
any good way, and so ADR'd it all later. And also, I for being, I believe, his first film and written, directed, produced, edited, and scored all by himself. Pretty solid filmmaking too.
Yes.
He was
Yes.
clearly shooting in his own garage, in his own house, in public places, but still managed to. I saw a couple points where it looked like he probably had some dolly track that he was moving. Could have been stacking boxes on a skateboard to do a dolly.
Sure, yeah.
A lot of either locked down or handheld, but managed to find interesting ways to shoot in his boring ass living room, you know, like shooting through doorways or shooting, you know, from the top of a building looking down or through a window or an overhead shot, keep making sure that other characters had business in the background in the kitchen. Although, why was the refrigerator wrapped like a present?
Okay, not only that, but like, why did she just go in and like go, "Ooh, I'm gonna chomp on a real big ice cube"? But I think the refrigerator was a present because he does say, he's like, "No, we have to throw away the first few batches," and you see the Christmas tree in the background. So my guess is that he bought her a fridge. But
Maybe.
like,
I don't know.
she goes right in to chew on the ice, and all I thought, oh, maybe she's pregnant, but like, that's
No, it's just
not
it's
even.
it's just those weird quirky things that
He's
real
like, "Ooh,
people have.
and she gets real excited. She's like, I'm gonna chomp on ice, and he's like, no, throw it away. Anyways, I was like that.
Yeah. So anyway, two dudes are playing in their garage when they're not at work. They're engineers or something. They're playing around in their garage trying to invent stuff. I think they're working on some type of like anti-gravity type of thing.
Because they're using, like, they keep talking about helium and argon, and but yeah, because when they do like the
Confetti, the hole punch holes, yeah.
Do those have a name?
They probably
I'm sure they
do.
do. I'm sure they do. So you know that there's some sort of a thing going on.
But... yeah, and I think they're trying to improve like an existing design because they're like, well, this uses really cold thing, and we want it to work at room temperature. But anyway,
so they handle it.
Yeah. Whatever they're making, they end up making essentially a time machine, and so they use the time machine to go back and to. They're like, okay, what is this stock going to do? Find a stock that does really well today. Then they go back 6 hours and buy the stock, and it does well that day, and yay, money.
It's brilliant. The first time that they traveled, first time that we realized
right.
And they do the stocks. I'm like, dude, this is brilliant, because not a lot of time travel movies, I mean, other than Biff, but like, you know.
Yeah, he gets an almanac from 2015, I think.
I'm like, you go, boys. Like, they're like, let's play the stock market. I'm like, I love it. I love the way that was thought out.
And just doing day trades too. It's like, yeah, what does really well today, you know? So, but then time shenanigans happen and things get out of control and it's not explained well and you don't see most of it, and then the movie stops.
Okay.
So that's kind of the movie. I I think it's a really I like how time travel works in this movie, because time travel works in different ways depending on what movie you're watching, and this is a version of time travel that I don't think I've seen before, which is really neat.
Yeah.
I like what happens in the movie for the most part. I just don't feel that it's communicated very well. And I feel that a lot of that is definitely, the movie was, made for $7,000, and they only had so much, time and resources and stuff. But I also feel a lot of it was, this is the story and the sequence of events I intended to show. And it's like, you'll figure it out. That's the fun of it, watching it multiple times to figure it out. It's like, I think I got it, but here, you watched it twice, right?
I did watch it twice.
Okay.
This is the first movie in our series that I mean, some of them I've seen multiple times, but like for this recording reasoning, I did watch it twice.
Okay, so I have questions about the story that maybe you, having seen it twice, can answer. So Mr. Granger, I think, is the dude who discovers their time travel box and goes back through and mucks things up. Who the hell is he?
You mean the blonde one? Or
blonde
the
one who?
Oh, you mean at the end of the movie when they come across this other dude?
This other dude who apparently found their stuff and went back in time and is now following them around, but doesn't do anything. Who is that? It's Mr. Granger. I don't know who that is, though.
Okay. So there is a character named Rachel who Abe, the blonde,
one of the two. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's Aaron and Abe. And so Rachel,
is that the wife?
No, Rachel is.
Is it the woman with the ex with the shotgun?
Yes.
Here's another question. Who the hell is she?
Okay. She is the daughter. Mr. Granger is the one that they want to punch in the nose. Do you remember when he says, if you could go? Yes.
Yeah. Are you sure?
Yes.
I thought his name was like Abel or Abel or really? Huh. Okay.
I believe, and she is his daughter.
Okay.
And I believe the blonde boy, Abe, likes her.
Also, if you have two characters, don't
name them Abe and Aaron.
Not two short names that both begin with A.
The first watch through, I was like, oh my God, I need help on these two names.
Yeah.
And again, I've seen it twice and I'm still guessing at this name because this part of the movie where they find the guy following them is quite confusing.
Yeah, because have we like,
no, we have not.
I'm not convinced he's the guy they want to punch in the nose, but whether that's the same person or a different person, I don't think we ever meet these guys ever at all in the movie.
No, what I will say is the guy, it is 100% Rachel's father, because they call her and they're like, hey, what's your dad's number?
Okay. So, yeah, from the car, right?
Yeah. So I know that it's her father.
But who's Rachel in relation to them?
The girl with the boyfriend with the shotgun, ex-boyfriend with the shotgun, who Abe, blonde boy, has a fancy for.
It's just a girl he has a crush on?
Just a girl he fancies.
I don't even remember him. Okay. Don't remember that, but okay.
There's one line in there when Aaron is doing his narrating where he says, days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and we were just hanging out. And she's in those scenes because they're just friends. But I think she's also the sister of one of the other two dudes.
Oh.
Because it's the other guy's birthday party. So the other two dudes, and I know, listener, you're just like tuning out, but there is a moment in the movie where the two guys that brother just discussed that were there at the beginning just fuck off. and are never heard from again until
Pretty much
20 minutes to the end of the movie. They come back just randomly and they're like, hey, it's nice to be in this garage again because it's been locked, because they like to tinker. They're tinkerers with the blonde and brunette, Abe and Aaron, respectively. And Aaron being the one, by the way, who is Shane, the one that did all of the creating on this movie. And it's just those two dudes and Abe, the blonde, in the garage at this moment. And that's when he goes, sorry, that was a very loud clap of thunder. Scared the bejeez out of me. Oh my gosh.
No, your microphone clipped it out, but I saw the lightning.
Oh my gosh, that was really loud. Oh boy, where was I? So they're in the garage, those three, and he goes, wait, what did you just say? And they mentioned they said, you'll never guess what happened at my birthday party, the brunette dude. So the brunette dude,
right. And said, I think that's when we learn about the birthday party, which is like one of the big turning points of the film. And I'm like, because here's the thing,
that a dude came in with a shotgun.
So and this doesn't make any sense to me either. Again, maybe you'll be able to explain it to me. So two dudes, they make a time machine, they use it for, I don't know, a week or so, and well, probably not like maybe 4 or 5 days or something, because they have to travel all the way back to the beginning, and you can only sit in that little box for so long. That's kind of the thing that sucks about their version of time travel, is if you want to travel 6 to 8 hours back in time, you got to sit in a little box with an oxygen tank for that 6 or 8 hours, because it goes backwards at the same rate, which sucks. But anyway, so they use it to play the stock market and make money. But apparently one of them got a bug up his ass about a birthday party. Where is it? Rachel's birthday party, or is it someone else's?
It's the brunette friend.
So it's one of the two okay, so the other two dudes, right? One of them has a birthday.
Which, why they weren't there that one time is weird.
I don't know,
but that's okay. Please continue.
At this birthday party, Rachel, her ex, shows up with a shotgun and just waves it around, threatening people. And
you don't know that. They don't say what happens. Oh, that's true. He does say that he never shoots it. He never actually fires it. That's right.
Yeah, because they say he just waved it around. And somehow he gets a bug up his ass about, I need to go back in time and redo everything to be a hero, I guess, because I don't know what he's doing. Why does he even
no one
care?
Dies. Yeah.
No one dies. No one gets hurt. Well, he's not the one who has a crush on Rachel anyway. True. The other guy wasn't even there. The guy who has the crush wasn't at the party until way late in the movie, through the timeline 6 or 7 or whatever they're at that point. Then they both go and they're like, okay, we've planned this out because we've gone through a day recording the whole thing. We're playing it back in our ears so we know exactly how to respond to people, so we can set it up exactly the way I want us. And then they walk towards the guy, and it cuts away, and we have no idea what happens. And the guy is only ever there because the other one of our heroes, Aaron, I think, invites him in the first place. I know. Well, why the fuck did you invite him if you don't want him to? I don't understand what's going on. It's just,
so there is a
conversation. I can wrap my head around the time travel. I just don't understand what these jackasses are trying to accomplish.
So there is a conversation regarding this, and it does come at the end of the movie when they are discussing doing it. When Abe says, or when Aaron is telling him he never fires, he just waves it around, it's going to be okay, it's perfectly safe, because Abe is concerned they're all going to die. And the reason that, because even Abe says everything you just said to Aaron, and Aaron says, what's to prevent him from coming back this way? If we get him this time, he gets arrested and he can't hurt anybody.
Oh, right.
Because if you're willing to come in to a birthday party with a loaded shotgun, whether or not you fire it, then
he might hurt her
you
at
might
some time in the future.
Yeah, what's to say that you're not going to? So the whole idea was to get him.
Oh, right. Okay, they do say that. That's
Yes.
fine. But again, the only reason that guy shows up is because Aaron invites him. Abe wasn't even there in the first place.
Aaron wasn't there in the first place either, because
they hear it several timelines. They hear it
secondhand, which also makes me wonder how in the first place he came to the party with the shotgun if Aaron didn't
invite him. I don't know.
Or maybe doppelganger Aaron.
Because another thing that's interesting about this flick that you learn towards the end of the movie, so you kind of have to just put everything together in your head, is they end up with duplicates of themselves.
Yes.
Because what happens is
it's so hard. I watched it twice, and it's so hard.
So what you do is, if you want to travel 6 hours, so let's say it's noon, and at noon, you're going to later today at 6 o'clock, you want to travel back to today at noon. So at noon, you turn on your time machine. Then you wait around until 6, you get in the box, sit in there for 6 hours, and when you get out, it's noon.
Right.
Okay. So here's the issue. When you get out at noon, there's now 2 of you. There's you who just traveled back in time and got out of the box, and there's the original you who's standing around waiting for 6 o'clock to roll around so they can get in the box. Right. So they have to be careful that they don't run into each other because they're not sure what happens. Does the one thing happen where same matter can't access the... I'm sorry, that's not the one. That's Time Cop, Von Damme movie. Same matter can't occupy the same space at the same time. They're just not sure what's going to happen, so they try and play it safe. So they turn on the time machine. They just hang out in a hotel, eating bagels and seeing what the stocks are doing until they go get in the box, so that when they get out of the box, they don't run into themselves, right?
Right. Because then when they get out of the box, they just go about their day and do the stocks and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. But they've created a second time machine that's been running the entire time that they're doing the time machine shenanigans. So if they screw something up irreparably, they can just get in the time machine on Friday and go all the way back to Monday and confront themselves and say, hey, don't do that, or destroy the time machine so they can't.
So I believe it's nearly 4 days.
Okay. So
because when they show the fail-safe time machine, it's like 3 days, 22 hours. So it's almost 4 days.
Right. So we end the movie, I think, with Aaron's the one who locks himself in the attic, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we have attic Aaron, the other Aaron, the Aaron who ends up in France or something, and the Aaron who's like, you know what, I'm out. The Aaron, attic Aaron, the other Aaron who ends up in France, and then the other Aaron who talks to France Aaron and is like, okay, you're way more invested in this than I am. So I'm peacing out. Bye. So there's 3 Aarons, and I think there's 2 Abes.
Because I think there's only 2 Abes.
Yes.
I think Abe killed one of the Abes. Was that him killing himself?
I mean, he seemed to knock him out and lock him in the bathroom. I don't know if he knows what he's going to do with himself. I didn't get the sense that he killed him. I thought he was just knocking him. Because when they both go into the
fail-safe, do you think only Aaron went into the fail-safe?
When?
That's why there's 3 Aarons and only 2 Abes, huh? So did Abe kill Mr. Granger?
I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on with Mr. Granger.
Yeah,
if he's the same guy that they wanted to punch in the nose, did he find out like that they punched him in the nose, and then he found out about the time machine and went back to prevent them from punching him in the nose?
Well, there's a scene where they're looking for a cat around a whole bunch of water. Do you remember this scene?
Yes, and I could not figure out.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, and I'm like,
in that
what
scene,
are they doing? I mean,
They're
all
looking for
most
a cat who
most
ran
of the
away.
exposition happens here, but I was
Yes.
like, did they go here so that no one else can eavesdrop on them because of the sound of
I
the
think so because, but I believe, and again, I've seen it twice and I'm still very confused. I think Aaron admits that he told someone because Abe is the one that figures it out and Aaron is the one that exploits it.
Well, yeah, because he figures it out and then builds it.
Yeah.
But Aaron finds out about that too, and the failsafe. So he goes back and then locks himself in the attic and then sends himself a note, which he's listening
a recorded
to.
Note.
The recorded note, which he's listening to. And then he goes back again to talk himself out of the damn thing, but finds out that he can't. So he's like, okay, I'm leaving.
Yeah, I'm out.
So yeah, we end the movie and he's in France,
gonna build a huge
building
one.
another one.
They're gonna build a huge one, and I don't know what he plans to do with it, but he's got ambition.
Why didn't you guys just cheated at the stock market and made money? Why is that not enough?
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Also, your brain is leaking out your ears. That's an issue.
And you can't write anymore. You don't have penmanship.
There seems to be not very healthy for your brain.
Yeah, there's some side effects.
And while that's interesting, it also has no bearing on the plot.
The thing that I
nothing comes of that, really.
And the thing that I question is like the duplicates, do they have the same like what, like it's hard to know like when who went in and who came out. So the ones that come out at noon to make the money, like how do they know which stocks to buy? Like, do they leave each other notes? Like, do they know that later like that person is going in there? And like it's an interesting.
Well, so yeah, they just remember. So they turn on the time machine, they go hide out in a hotel, look up what stocks are going to win, make a mental note or jot down a note and put it in their pocket, get in the time machine, sit there for 6 hours, come out, buy their stocks, and then at the end of the day, they've made money. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. It's interesting. So it's all still kind of them. Oh, it's so confusing. But it's so confusing. Let me be very perfectly clear. I love this movie.
Really? Okay.
I love this movie.
I love the idea of this movie.
Yes.
I don't love the execution.
There is a lot wrong with the execution, but I also believe
some of it I'm sure is just the budget and the resources.
Yeah, and my, unintelligent mind. But no,
some of it's me being a dumbass and not paying attention to who the hell Mr. Granger is. I'm like, who is this? I don't remember him.
Again, if only I could watch it a third time. But I think it's going to expire here in a second. But watching it a second time, the amount of new information I took in is insane. So it's like if I watched it a third time, I'm sure. So here's what's very interesting. There is, at the end of the movie, you learn that Aaron has been recording the day. He's had his doppelganger record, that's just what he had him do. He's like, do the recording so that I am 3 seconds ahead. So I always know what to say.
To get everything to play out exactly
how it needs to go.
And I noticed when Abe first approaches him on the bench to introduce him to time travel, he had the earpiece and he always had it from throughout, where he takes him to the lab to look at the mold and stuff like that.
I'm he already has
why is it. And I'm like, why is he still listening to March Madness or whatever?
But I found that.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
that's the thing is that I didn't really fully notice it the first time through. Like, it didn't mean anything to me.
But it was present enough that I made a mental note of it. And I'm like, he did have that the hard.
So the second time I'm like, shit,
but they didn't see Mr. Granger very well because I had no idea who the hell that was or what he looked like. I'm like, I don't remember this character at all.
And it's true. I'm going to have to look at it again because he does say, I saw him this afternoon and they talk about his beard and
Yeah,
stuff.
they say I saw him this
And they
afternoon. He's
definitely
clean shaven now.
do.
He's got a couple days of growth,
They
which implies that
definitely,
he went back and he's just been freaking out for the last 2 or 3 days.
yeah. It is true that a lot is not explained, and it is true that that specific idea does not come to fruition nicely. And there's a lot that you have to infer, but I've never seen the time travel or the time manipulate. I've never seen it done this way. It's very interesting. I liked how they did it. I actually find both of the actors quite believable. They're just the other
for
two.
not actors, they did fine.
The other two friends were terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Eh.
No other, but these two seem just very comfortable. Like, you would think that they might be friends in real life, because there's a comfortability there, and
Yeah, pretty
there's
naturalistic. Yeah.
Shane is a sweaty man throughout the entire movie.
The wife was pretty natural too.
Yeah. I wonder if that's actually his. I wonder, like,
I would imagine most of the people in this movie are people he knows.
yeah, this is what I'm, yeah. So, but yeah, no, I loved it. I found it fascinating. And I found it fascinating. I found the dialogue fascinating. I found how they explain things. And I think it's because there are big budget movies that try to explain the time travel, and you can almost tell that they're trying so hard, because in reality, I mean, at least I'm not sure, because I personally haven't experienced it or known anyone who's experienced it, but supposedly we in reality have not time traveled. We don't know what time travel is. We can only extrapolate what we think could occur and how it could occur, right? So when I watch these big budget movies like Tenet, which I also loved, by the way, I don't know, it just seems so... they're going to try to dumb it down for the audience. So it's like, they almost, like, sometimes you see these bigger movies and it's like, oh, yay, here's where they explain it to us in a way that no one is ever going to have a conversation like this in real life. Whereas in this movie, they are unapologetic in, if you can't follow it, you can't follow it. We're just going to talk, because they're very natural. The moment that lost me the first time around, and not lost me in like, I'm throwing up my hands and I'm out, but lost me and I'm like, okay, I was with you and now I'm really concerned, is kind of right before the Mr. Granger moment, when the kid is hitting the cars with the newspapers and the alarm goes off. And by the way, listeners, if you ever want to watch this movie, it's only 78 minutes. It's a quick
short film.
It's a short film, so it's not like a real big sit or anything, which is probably why I was able to get through it twice.
Yeah.
But I liked this was because they're talking about going back and keeping that kid from hitting the cars so that they don't get woken up, so that they can have a better night's sleep, which is hilarious. That's kind of, pardon me, I think I'm gonna hiccup, maybe burp, I don't know.
Well, that was the thing, right? So he's awoken by the car alarm in the middle of the night. He's like, yes. All right, we can go punch that dude in the nose, and then we can, and just feel good about that. And then we can, yeah. Because I turned on the time machine last night at 5. So we can just punch whatever in the nose and go sit in the time machine. And then we just go camp out at night and scare off the kids so that they don't hit the car alarm. That way we don't ever actually get up and do that. We don't have to worry about our doubles.
Exactly. But like the way they explain it,
then they run into Mr. Granger,
and then they run in, and then all hell breaks loose. Yeah. But the way
the hell breaking loose is like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
It truly is the last 20 minutes. But that conversation, when he's like, oh, I'm getting used to these 36-hour days, and that conversation, like, they talk about it so so flippantly, that it's just like, oh yeah, we'll just go back to 5. I'll hold the nose. And so to me, I liked that use of just, we get it. We know exactly what we're talking about. if you know, whereas in big budget movies, they really, really, really want you with them. And in this movie, I appreciated that they're like, hey, you're with us, you're not with us, you'll figure it out.
Well, I
It's a
think they
fun
did a
ride.
nice job at the beginning of the film, kind of explaining the time A, time B,
Yes,
and then the recursive, or just looping around.
they did.
They do. He's like, no, I need to write this down. We've got time A, time B, and he's like, draw a little arc. It's like, right, and now it loops back around, and it just, if you keep sitting there, it just spins around in those 2 points.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, so
yeah, but I found it just fascinating, and I enjoy a movie that I've never seen anything like, you know. Now,
there's a lot I enjoyed about it. I just don't think narratively it's constructed very well. And I understand that they can't do a whole, they don't have the effects to what they did. It was fine with the couple interactions of
yeah.
the same person. I also thought for a moment they were trying to do some interesting color grading to
So
visually identify the different timelines. I went, no, it's just overexposed film.
okay, so I know exactly when you're speaking of, because it was in the parking lot when they're filling up the gas tank, because I was with Fuchsia and we were looking at that and I was like,
why is this so goddamn
are their
orange?
ties a different color? And because look to the ties give away a lot as well. But like I was looking at them and I was really studying it and I'm like, those look like different ties. And then when I saw it the second time around, I'm like, they're the same ties. They look like different colors because of the exposure. But damn it, I was really proud of myself. I was like, ooh, the ties are going to give it all away. Yeah, no, it's fascinating. I do wish that I knew I want like that last 20 minutes, like just to watch it again and be like, wait, who are you? And then when he runs around the side and both Aaron and Granger are like falling on the ground, or is that Aaron and Aaron? Did Aaron punch himself?
One of them's Granger, the guy
So
in
it
the
is Granger
blue,
and the other
I
one's
think.
Aaron. Yeah.
I'm not sure because I don't know what the guy
Who
looks like, because
Granger
I
is,
don't
yeah.
think we've ever met him in the movie before, which I think is a problem. I don't think that's a, well, we're not going to handhold you. I'm like, fine, but not introducing important characters, I feel, is a problem.
Yeah. And I do agree with you. I do agree that it is not explained well who he is and how he came to be. But I find it very interesting that I also like the
And
flip.
Rachel, I'm like, I'm sorry, who is she? She's not the wife. She's some other woman that I don't know who she is in relation to anyone else.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying they don't say, but if when they do, I missed it.
Very in the background, like it's something about he just want to be near Rachel. Like they say something, and but then they also say something to the effect when Abe wakes up on the floor of his room that one time, like very near the beginning, and then Aaron is calling him, and Aaron says, "Are the kids there?" And they're like, adult.
Who are these people?
Children. He's like, yeah, they're here, and he's like, okay, meet me at the door, and I'm like, they're like 20.
Yeah,
you know,
I wasn't sure what was going
children.
on.
I didn't know who these children
either.
are either, because I didn't think that Aaron or Abe was married. I know Aaron is married. What I find
and
also
I think has a kid, at least in one scene in the movie.
No,
I don't know where she is throughout the rest of the film.
They talk about her because she says at the very beginning of the movie, and I caught it both times. Very beginning of the movie, he goes, is she asleep? And she said, no, she's still up. She needs a bath. And he goes, well, you know that if I do it, she's going to lock herself in the closet. She's like, okay. So they mentioned the girl. Okay. They mentioned his kid.
I mean, at least I noticed her at some point, but
yeah.
I think it's in one of the montages where he's just
when you actually meet the child. You actually see her.
Oh, that's actually, I think this is one of the only times you see her. Actually,
you see her twice. You see the child once when he's getting ready to take her to like school. He puts her backpack on, and it's when they're doing the first time travel. And he says, I just need to drop her off at wherever. And then she's sitting on Abe's lap.
Right. Right.
in a scene as well.
But yeah, I love the way time travel works. There's a lot of really cool ideas, like the bit with the earpiece that you learn later that he's already been through time and he's manipulating things to make it play out the same way. And then there's the wife asking him, "Did you call pest control?" And he's like, "Yeah, my wife thinks there's rats in the attic." And you find out later, it's like, no, it's a different version of him that he kidnapped and he locked in the attic.
Yeah, exactly.
There's some really great stuff in the film. There's a lot I like. I just don't think it really comes together well. But I mean, for $7,000 in a first attempt, I think
I think
pretty
that
damn
maybe
good.
that's why I like it so much, is because it truly is like there's enough little tiny things about like, yeah, he's like, because he even says, "Oh, I think it's just birds. Do you really want to kill baby birds or whatever?" And so when he's locked himself in the attic. But I also find it terribly like you don't see it going this way when it's at the beginning, it's all Abe. Abe figured it out. Abe is showing you. Abe's trying
And
to
built the
convince
thing and
you.
tested it
Abe,
himself along with the
Abe
fail
did
safe.
it.
And it's like,
It's all Abe. And then it's Aaron who takes it for himself.
Yep.
And like,
And there's also a bit where I forget how this actually plays into anything, but there's a whole bit where it's like, yeah, it's a box, so we can just collapse the damn thing and bring it back through time with us. I'm like,
yes,
neat.
yeah,
Why? What?
yeah. I noticed that too, and I'm like, interesting, because it's not single, so it's not single use. That was, I think, the idea is. But anyways, because he said something about it not being single use, but no. But if again,
like,
watching it the
but
second
it isn't,
time,
though.
in watching it the second time, you actually realize Aaron's not that great of a person. It's interesting, like, because Aaron's the one at the beginning when it's all four of them and they're at the table. Aaron is the one who is poo-pooing the other two. Aaron is the one who is telling Abe, we don't need them. We can do this all ourselves. Aaron's the one that's like, let's lock them out. He's actually, and he's the one that's like, and again, his dream is to punch this dude in the nose. And then he even says, because there's a moment when
Abe, like freeze them out of a patent or for something?
Yeah, I don't. Again, there is math. Me and math are friends. Me and physics I know there's a lot of math in physics, but there's the science part comes in, and I'm like, you're trying to make liquid helium? Why? What does liquid helium do? I do not know. Is that a thing? But yeah, so it was the feeling of the beginning rather than because they're talking about Tesla coils, and he's like, it's not a Tesla coil, and then they're like,
but you sure do have a lot of oscilloscopes in that,
dude. And then they're pilfering. What did I died when he was like catalytic converter. He's like, oh, we'll just get, we'll take the catalytic converter. He's like, don't forget to put that back because your emissions just went up 130% or whatever he said. I'm like,
and then they're like, oh, we can get because they're on a budget here, and they're like, oh, copper tubing, we can get some off the back of the refrigerator. It's like, yeah, that's going to be more expensive than just buying copper tubing. And like, did you already take that off of the back of the fridge? There's some good stuff in there. One of the best line in the movie is the I'm hungry. You hungry? I haven't had anything to eat since later this afternoon. I'm like, okay, that's a good one.
I haven't had anything to eat since later this afternoon. Yeah, I thought that was very good. But it is interesting because Aaron isn't what I was saying about his wife is that there's a scene that they've already kind of made a little bit of money, and Abe tells Aaron, you can tell her. I'll let you tell her. She's your wife. She's allowed to know.
Bring her in.
And even Aaron's like, no. I'll tell her maybe later, but I'm not going to tell her now. I'll just let her think that like I got some, I'll fill her in later or whatever, but I'm not going to bring her in now. And then
I may take her to Costa Rica or something like that to let my doppelganger die in the attic.
Basically. But
maybe after a month they'll stop moving.
But in that scene, in that scene where they're talking about the pest control in the attic, Abe asks, you know, what would you do if you had all the money, you don't have to do anything, you don't have to work? And she was like, what do you know, and the wife said, oh, I would have to do something about giving back, and I would have to do something. And Aaron even says, he's like, my saintly wife, I want to punch a dude in the nose.
Mhm.
And it's so interesting watching it back and just realizing that this dude is kind of manipulative in the whole time. And I think that the first watch through, you're thinking that Abe is going, because Abe finds it first, and Abe has the double first.
Mhm.
But it's Aaron who's already done the whole freaking thing, and he's
Well,
just
Abe, does the experimenting and the testing, and then the building, and then the figuring out where to put it, and then making this fail safe. And apparently, Aaron was, I guess, spying on him, maybe, or
I guess.
it seems like it would be a hard thing to just kind of stumble across. But
there is a moment, again, I watched it twice.
Yeah.
There's a moment in one of the, I think it's the second time they go to the storage unit, because their time machines are housed in a U-Haul storage
A climate controlled storage.
Very exciting. Yes, exactly. When they're walking down, and Abe checks one of the locks on the door before the one they go into.
And and then he's like, whoop, wrong one, or something like that.
But is it? Or was he making sure that the failsafe was secure?
Didn't he mention that the failsafe was on the level above?
I thought so too, but then I thought, well, maybe the film got reversed or something, because I thought so too. I thought the failsafe was on the other side, but he does that. Yeah, and I remember thinking the first time through, I was like, you don't know which one yours is.
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh, that could be he was just checking up on his other one. So yeah, I think there was a lot of smart choices, and I thought there were a lot of aggravating choices.
Yeah.
But I think the smart choices and the sheer audacity of the movie, and the sheer indie, true, there was some grainy ass footage.
Yeah.
And
surprised it wasn't in black and white.
So my choice is Pi. No, it's actually not. But although I've never seen Pi, I own it. I've never seen it.
I've not seen it either.
But I'm true. I think, I've always liked movies that you can talk about after, and that you're thinking about a lot. And this one is, and not in an ugly way, because you and I have seen movies that we haven't liked, and we'll talk about it angrily afterwards, and that doesn't make the movie good, just because you can talk about it, and it doesn't make me like the movie. But when I'm really captivated by this one, and there's something about it that I'm just I feel like I can break this code. It's almost like a challenge for me. And I'm not a competitive person, but this movie has made, I'm challenge accepted, Shane.
So now that we've recorded this episode, are you going to dig into all the YouTube explainers and stuff?
Oh my God, yes. Yes, it's not even funny. I'm not going to sleep tonight.
Someone must have made a chart.
That's the thing. Well, so because I want to look at the ties. But here's the other thing that's very interesting. And it's something that I only put together at this moment as I'm speaking. Mr. Grain, really strange some person.
Yeah.
They mention when they see him, Aaron says he was clean shaven this afternoon when I saw him, and that looks like a 3-day growth. And I thought it was very funny, because in the beginning of the movie, and it was something that I noticed right away, and I don't know what it means, let's be very honest, I have no idea what this means, but at the beginning of the movie, Abe has quite a lovely scraggly beard, and I quite enjoyed it. And I love a good mountain man, so I was very I noticed it. And then I noticed in the very first scene when he looks over the roof down at Aaron sitting on the bench, and then he goes down there, he's shaved. And I'm like, why did you shave your scruff? I liked the scruff.
Probably because this was shot over 2 years.
And there is that.
Because a couple of the haircuts changed a little bit shot to shot.
And so I was wondering if that was just that, or if it has anything.
Not sure, yeah.
Anything to, and again, I don't know. It could not. Hair.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm captivated. I'm gonna go down wormhole. If I had time, if I was younger and had 0 children and not a lot else on my plate, I definitely would do my own, like one of these movies, like Track the Ties, and I don't know, it's just intriguing. I enjoy being pumped by movie. There's not a lot of movies. I'm sorry, I'm boring you.
Long week, sorry.
Week. I know you've had a really long week. But yeah, I haven't been this, I guess it's intrigued. Like and what else has this man done? That I also didn't look into. Has there been a future? He doesn't look familiar.
He's done some other things.
Good voice.
A lot of writing, and I think he's directed like 2 other movies, but he's also done some acting and some writing. So yeah, I briefly looked to see if he'd done anything else. He has a handful of other credits over the last 20 years.
Well, that's good, because I think like there's something there.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it definitely has. As I was talking about the cinematography earlier, it's not just you know, Clerks I may find a more fun movie to watch, but this has trounces Kevin Smith in the cinematography. So
yeah, it was very funny, because when we first started watching it the other night, and I told my friend, I said, by the way, this is a brother's pick, and it's from 2004, and it was made for $7,000. And he was like, oh boy.
No.
And just immediately in the opening scene, when they're at the table and they're talking and there's a few different angles, he said to me, he goes, this is already outdone my, he's like, it's already better than I could have possibly
that opening scene around the table, I was like, okay,
I'm in.
This guy understands
not the same
film
thing.
Cinematography. So that's
good.
I
thought the same thing. So
all right. Before we get to your mandated movie, if you want another time travel movie that's pretty good, I recommend Time Crimes.
Time Crimes.
Yep, it's a movie.
It is a movie. Interesting.
And it has time travel in it, and I'm going to make sure that that's actually the name of the movie.
Was Time Cop a travel
movie? Time Cop was. It was Jean-Claude Van Damme. We talked about it earlier.
I was like, was that
he's a
Jean-Claude,
cop and he goes back in time. Yeah. It's I forget what country it's from, but the localized title is Time Crimes. The poster of the movie has a dude with a bloody bandage around his head holding a pair of scissors or something like that.
Oh dear.
So
well, I'll have to look at it.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So
crazy.
It's still Indie-pendence month, so mandate a movie.
All right. So when we chose this theme, this was the first movie that popped in my head. It hasn't, and I was like, then I'm gonna go with it. Igby Goes Down. I've not seen it. I wanted so badly to see it when it came out. I missed that boat, but look, the boat came back around.
Hey.
So Igby Goes Down. So yeah, I'm very excited. Kieran
Culkin and Susan Sarandon.
Yeah, that was like his breakout. Everyone was like, hey, this
Bill
Culkin
Pullman, Ryan Phillippe, Amanda Peet, Jeff Goldblum, Claire Danes. Good God.
But it's an indie.
All right.
It's a different my take on indie is a bit different, apparently. No, it's just it didn't have distribution.
That's one of the ways you get funding for your independent film is you manage to get some stars in it.
Yeah. So I can't even tell you what it's about.
Okay. Well, we'll find out next time then. So today's episode may have come to an end, but Independence Month continues next time with Kelly's mandated movie Igby Goes Down, where we'll learn what actually goes down with Igby. Because we don't know. Didn't read the summary. If you'd like to watch it too and find out what the hell happens in this movie or what the basic premise is, check out the description of this video to see where it's currently streaming or available to rent. Until then, you can watch Movie Mandates on YouTube or listen to it in podcast form on iTunes. What? No? Did you say no?
No, I said oh no because you froze.
Oh, I'm back. Okay. Do I need to do the outro again?
Please.
At what point did I... All right. Let's redo the outro. Take 2. Today's episode may have come to an end, but Independence Month continues next time with Kelly's mandated movie, Igby Goes Down. Yes, we swear it's not a porno.
No, it's not.
If you'd like to watch it too, check out the description to see where it's currently streaming or available to rent. Until then, you can watch Movie Mandates on YouTube or listen to it in podcast form on iTunes. And hey, if you enjoyed the show and would like to help us reach a wider audience, engagement is key. So if you're watching on YouTube, like and comment. If you're listening on iTunes, rate and review. Much obliged. And with that, I'm Andrew. Follow me on Twitter at Andrew Eisen.
Scary. I'm Kelly. The thunder is crazy. At Get Isengard, you can follow me.
The thunder that no one can hear because your microphone does a really good job of clipping out extraneous noise.
So if anyone's watching this on YouTube, they just think I'm having fits.
Seizure or something, yeah.
They're like, Kelly needs to see a doctor.
Yeah. Okay, well, we hope you've all enjoyed this episode of Movie Mandates. We'll be back soon with another mandated movie. Bye, everyone!